Hey guys, Marcus Melnick here with Firearm Mentor. Hope you're enjoying my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. These little things are free to you and really help the channel. I appreciate your support. Enjoy. Thank you.
The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters. Greetings and welcome back to the Personal Safety Show. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor and Stress to Logic. And for the second half of the show, we're going to talk about some current events that have happened, some upcoming events that are going to happen, and some tragedies that occurred this week. The tragedy that I want to really focus on is the murder, assassination, killing, whatever word you want to put in front of it, of Charlie Kirk, who was a very prominent conservative talking head. Someone actually said they thought he was headed into the world of politics in the future, and he was at a college campus in Utah, and a sniper or hunting rifle, a person behind it, took a shot and shot him in the neck. If you have not seen that video, don't. It is disturbing, it is gory, it is bloody, and I will tell you, I am a person who has seen death up close. I've been present for multiple people who are actually at the moment of death. It is never a fun time. It is one of the greatest good deeds you can do if you have a sick family member and you're there when they pass away, because they can't say thank you. So you did a good deed. But the imagery was extremely disturbing on multiple levels. First of all, I didn't want to see anyone get killed or hurt. That's not me. But also, the thing I found interesting was everyone froze in the crowd. No one did anything. Only one shot was fired, which is a good thing. But some people stood up and looked around, kind of like they do in Chicago when there's tornado sirens going off. You know, when that happens, everyone in Chicago goes out on their front stoop and they all look up at the sky like, what's going on? Instead of taking shelter in their basement. And that's kind of what happened here. I don't know if that's the human stress response. There's 5 answers when we are stressed, and that's fight or flight. So it's fight, flee, freeze, which is what everyone did, or submit. And if you're me, my stress response is to eat. Now, that's just a little bit of levity there. I did put out a message on social media, and I'm going to play it for you for a moment. But if you go on most social medias, specifically, we're talking about Facebook, we're talking about LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. You can look up Firearm Mentor. I'm now putting out firearm tips twice a week via video, because no one was really reading. There wasn't a lot of engagement, and I have some great information that I really want to get out to the public. So this is what I had to say on that video.
A firearms instructor's condemnation of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. At firearmmentor.com, we teach the safe, responsible, and lawful use of firearms centered on respect, discipline, and above all, human life. To us, firearms are a serious responsibility, never a political statement. The role of a firearms instructor isn't about enabling violence, it's about preventing it. We train individuals to safely carry, to protect themselves and others, and to act lawfully, even under pressure, which is why the shocking and sickening shooting and death of Charlie Kirk during his appearance at Utah Valley University on September 10th, 2025, isn't just infuriating, it's antithetical to everything we stand for. Political violence, assassination, even attempted assassination, is never justified. In fact, it undermines the very freedoms we train to protect. What happened to Charlie Kirk is a tragedy, a manifestation of political violence that leads America closer to chaos, not civic discourse. Our founding principles demand debate, dialogue, and voting, not bullets. And it's up to all of us, especially those who train with firearms, to embody this responsibility. To instructors, students, and responsible firearm owners everywhere, we must redouble our commitment. Rigorous training, secure storage, conflict de-escalation, and community education aren't optional. They're essential to the safety of our fellow citizens. FirearmMentor.com condemns the shooting of Charlie Kirk. We stand for safety. We stand for peace. We stand for life. Let this tragedy reinforce our duty. Teach well, act lawfully, and honor life above all. May Charlie Kirk's memory be a blessing.
I guess what I'm more really disgusted about is how people are celebrating the death of another human being. They're comparing him to Hitler, Nazi youth movements. Look, don't listen to what the media says. Do your own deep dive research. Listen to him. There's a difference between not liking someone, not agreeing with someone, and letting someone else express their opinion. And quite frankly, from my view, all he did was he had words. He didn't mobilize violence. He didn't advocate for anything that would hurt physically another person. Now, did he make some students look dumb? I don't know. Maybe they did that on their own. I don't know. Some people say, well, he edits and makes people look dumb. Well, maybe they are dumb. You never know. Maybe he does make them look dumb. I don't know. But what's really concerning is how people are losing their jobs because they are celebrating this actual event. And there's people in my community that their jobs are in jeopardy. And I would love to discuss that, but I don't want to call people out or anything like that. So I'm not going to do that. But there have been some factions of society that have been united. And I'll give you an example. There is a TikToker. I don't know their name, and I'm using that because I'm not sure if they go by his or her, and I want to be respectful, but go by their name. And they went to a vigil to pray for Charlie Kirk. And it was, I believe, and please, if you listen to this, don't be offended because I'm not up on the descriptors and all that good stuff. I'm only there on the good feelings. Anyway, I believe this was a male who wore makeup and went to this Charlie Kirk vigil and recorded on the way out saying that these people were the most inclusive. They welcomed me. And there's a couple other videos by this person. And that's very, very, very encouraging to me that some of the country is coming together. But you really should not be having an opinion about murder along the lines of political party. It is absolutely ridiculous. As a matter of fact, I know of one gun owner who went online and said, it's the guns problem. Dude, you're a gun owner. What are you talking about? There have also been some very positive messaging that has been sent out. And although I don't agree with him a lot, Bernie Sanders was very, very eloquent. And I'm going to play what he said on the radio. I'm actually going to read the statement to you. So this is what Bernie Sanders, a political liberal, had to say about the shooting of Charlie Kirk. This is a quote, direct quote. I want to say a few words regarding the terrible murder of Charlie Kirk, someone whom I strongly disagreed with on almost every issue, but who was clearly a very smart and effective communicator and organizer, and someone unafraid to get out into the world and engage the public. My condolences go out to his wife and family. A free and democratic society, which is what America is supposed to be about, depends upon the basic premise that people can speak out, organize, and take part in public life without fear, without worrying that they might be killed, injured, or humiliated for expressing their political views. In fact, that is the essence of what freedom is about and what democracy is about. You have a point of view, that's great. I have a point of view that's different than yours. That's great. Let's argue it out. We make our case to the American people at the local, state, and federal level, and we hold free elections in which the people decide what they want. That's called freedom and democracy, and I want as many people as possible to participate in that process without fear. Freedom and democracy are not about political violence. It's not about assassinating public officials. It's not about trying to intimidate people who speak out on an issue. Political violence is, in fact, political cowardice. It means you cannot convince people of the correctness of your ideas, and you have to impose them through force. Every American, no matter what one's political point of view may be, must condemn all forms of political violence and all forms of intimidation. We must welcome and respect dissenting points of view. That's what our Constitution is about. That's what our Bill of Rights is about. That, in fact, is what freedom is about. The murder of Charlie Kirk is part of a disturbing rise in political violence that threatens to hollow out public life and make people afraid of participating. From the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, to the attack on Paul Pelosi, to the attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, to the murder of Minnesota Speaker of the House Melissa Hortman and her husband, to the arson attack on the Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, to the shooting of United Health Executive Brian Thompson, and the shooting several years ago of Representative Steve Scalise, this chilling rise in violence has targeted public figures across the political spectrum. Sadly, this is not a new phenomenon. We all remember the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Senator Robert F. Kennedy, John Lennon, Medgar Evans, and the attempted assassinations of President Ronald Reagan and Alabama Governor George Wallace. This is a difficult and contentious moment in American history. Democracy in our country and throughout the world is under attack. And there are a lot of reasons for that, which need serious discussion. But, bottom line, if we can honestly believe in democracy, if we believe in freedom, all of us must be loud and clear. Political violence, regardless of ideology, is not the answer and must be condemned. So I'm on several Facebook groups and other social network groups that are politically leaning left and politically leaning right because I want to make my own decisions. And what I've found is that people really don't understand what the First Amendment is all about. People say, oh, I can say anything I want. I can go online and say anything I want. True. However, the First Amendment restricts the government from restricting speech freedom. In other words, the government cannot tell you what you can and cannot say on social media. There are some limits. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater unless there's a real fire. But in any event, what's happening is people are saying, oh my gosh, I got fired. What about freedom of speech? Dude, you don't understand. A private employer is not the government. A private employer can have their own standards, their own ethics. My full-time job, there's ethics and standards that we have to abide by. And ever since social media came into being, now I was in law enforcement before, but we would get messages, be careful what you put online, it's forever, and it's true. And these people are coming, and now that they've lost their jobs, now they are sorry. I heard one guy say, I'm sorry, not sorry. But then he's crying about how he lost his job. Well, a private employer can choose to employ whomever they want, especially in an at-will employment state. Illinois is one of those. So you can have your job terminated for any reason at any time. You do not have a duty, or the employer does not have a duty to keep you employed. There are exceptions to this, like police officers, firefighters, for the public safety. But the reality is any employer can say, ooh, your values don't align with the values of the company. Even if the company is left-leaning, the value that's being portrayed is that it's okay to kill. It's okay to hurt someone if they disagree with you. Now, in schools, schools, government, you can't restrict it. Yeah, but schools also have rules. If I wanted to be on the playground and I'm a kid and I punch someone else in the face, that's not freedom of expression. That's hurting another individual. So there's this line. People don't understand it. Previous episode, we went over all of the amendments to the Constitution. really as a result of someone saying, well, you only know about the second. No, I know about all of them and their political significance. And I've studied this. I've studied political science and criminal justice and the history of our country. And I have a really good understanding of it. But in any event, my hearts and my thoughts, my prayers go out to the Kirk family. There have been a lot of people in the United States who have been vicariously victimized by this. Either they've seen the video and it is highly, highly disturbing, or they are part of a movement or political party that really is upset by this. So I just want everyone to go out there and have some civic engagement, political discourse, even if you disagree. That's cool. You can always disagree with me. Hey, my family, I love them. I don't always agree with them. My wife and I don't always agree, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with disagreement. And sometimes we can convince the other party of our viewpoint, and sometimes they're not going to come over to our side. That's fine. We're people. We all have different perspectives, but we don't have the right to take life in cold blood. And I'm very, very sorry about this. I want my listeners to know that this is my dream, teaching people about safety. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for my listeners, I couldn't live my dream. So on behalf of my family and myself, I want to thank each and every one of you for allowing me to live my dream. And I also want to continue to live my dream, and I'm excited to continue to spread the word of safety. Recently, I began a new service as a conference keynote speaker. So if anyone would like for me to speak at future events, or if anyone knows of an introduction or would like to discuss how we can work with one another, I'd love to do just that. The keynote speaking website is www.stress2logic.com. That is STRES2logic.com. If you're aware of any conference speaking engagements where you'd like to have me speak, I'd love an introduction. You can always share my electronic business card, which is Marcus Melnick, MarcusMelnick.com. Now, back to the show. Our next concealed carry class will be October 18th and 19th. Let me just double check that date so I don't screw that up. Yes, 18th and 19th. So I did it right. Yay. So it's October 18th and 19th. You can sign up at firearmmentor.com/classes. That is Firearmmentor.com/classes. Recently, I started working with, I met another business person who owns the Patriot store in Mundelein at 444 Hawley. And what he has are a ton of knives, not only everyday carry knives, switchblades out the front. He's got custom knives. He's got swords. Really, really, really cool. And there's a couple other things he has. He has stun guns, tasers, those types of things. But what I'm starting to refer my customers to him for is actually the body armor that he sells. Body armor is perfectly legal in the United States, and I should say in Illinois, it is legal. Now, you can't wear it during the commission of a crime. Then it's a double illegal because you're committing a crime and wearing a Kevlar vest while you're committing a violent crime. But his name's Joel. He's fantastic. Tell him Marcus sent you. And he and I was at his place of business. He had an open house a couple weeks ago. We're looking at doing a possible political signing event there where I'm connecting him with various people throughout Illinois who are running for office and whom I've interviewed on the show. The website for the American Patriot Store is AmerPatStore.com. That is AmerPatStore which is short for American Patriot Store. The guy's got a ton of cool stuff. It's a small store, but Joel can take care of you if you're interested. A couple of things that he had that I found very, very interesting was he's got ballistic panels that you could put in a briefcase or a backpack so a child can wear when they go to school. So please reach out to him if that is of interest to you. I'm sure he would be happy to share his expertise with you, and just a fabulous, fabulous person. By the time this airs, this will have been done, but this week at my synagogue, I'm doing active shooter drills for our High Holy Days coming up. If you're part of an organization that would like some training in how to respond to an active or mass shooter or attacker, please reach out to me. My electronic business card is Marcus Melnick. That is MarcusMelnick.com. I'd love to give you rates, come into your organization, and help everyone stay safe. A couple other things that have been happening here, at least in my little world, is by the time this airs, I will be mostly through a concealed carry class this weekend. Our next concealed carry class is next month, October 18th and 19th. You can sign up at firearmmentor.com/classes. I want to wish my son a very happy birthday. Ari will be has turned 22 yesterday, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to offer my mother-in-law, who turned, I'm not going to tell you how old she is, but she had a birthday this week. So happy birthday to her. I also want to wish everybody a happy and meaningful Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, where we go and spend time with family and pray and reflect on the past year. This week I'm going to be speaking at Rotary in Deerfield, and Friday night, RMG Guns and Ammunition in Mundelein is going to be having a free seminar from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. on having a car emergency kit. Very important that you have some equipment in your car in case you get stuck in a snowbank or you need to survive. And it's really simple stuff. It's matches. It's one of those space age Mylar blankets, etc., etc. So we've got so many fun things happening, so many ways to learn. If you go to my YouTube page, which is Firearm Mentor, I did a class a couple weeks ago for a group of fictional authors so that they can appropriately depict firearms in their stories. And I still am very, very proud of that group. It's called Sisters in Crime. It was the Florida chapter. I'd love to get in with the Chicago chapter as well. But they want to portray firearms accurately. And if you're a firearm person and you watch anything, particularly Lifetime Movie Network or LMN, which is on my TV all the time because that's what my wife wants to watch. I'm restricted to streaming on an iPad. It's a whole joke, but she watches a lot of LMN, and firearms are rarely depicted accurately. So what I ended up doing is I went through all the different functions of revolver, semi-auto, shotgun, pump action, bolt action, all of that stuff I went over, as well as showed videos on how it all works, what the rules of gun safety are, and these people are now going to be able to author stories that accurately depict firearms. Because I don't know about you, but when I watch a TV show and firearms are not accurately depicted, or a movie set like the movie Rust hires an inappropriately trained armorer and Alec Baldwin shoots the camera person completely unintentionally because he thought he had blanks in the gun, that is hugely, hugely wrong. So I'm happy to help anyone in the non-fictional or fictional arena. So if you're a reporter or you're in some sort of organization that does reporting and you would like a similar presentation, I am happy to do that. Now, here's the funny thing. When I gave the presentation, my wife said, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to go do errands or grocery shop or whatever she was going to do that morning. And I waited till 20 minutes after she told me that, and I started taking firearms out of the safe. And we don't take firearms out of the safe unless there's a reason. And the reason could be training. The reason could be, God forbid, there's a criminal attack or we have to maintain them. Those are the reasons. So I think she forgot that I was doing this seminar, and this was on Zoom. What are those guns doing out? And she scared the poop out of me. You're supposed to be gone. So I waited till she would leave to take out the firearms from the safe. But in reality, she didn't leave because she got hung up on whatever she got hung up on. And she scared the poop out of me, and the presence of the guns scared the poop out of her. It was a funny moment. And why do you need them? Why can't you just do it all on PowerPoint? Because if someone has a question, I want to have the actual object in front of me so I can demonstrate on the object. Obviously, no ammunition made it out of my safe. Now, I say obviously, but it's not always obvious to a lot of people. So I am huge into safety. With that said, I am happy to answer any questions that you have. The best way, really the only way to get a hold of me, it's not really the only way, but it's my preferred way, is if you email me between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Those are the hours of my business. My email is Marcus, Marcus, at firearmmentor.com. For example, this morning I got a non-urgent text at 7 a.m. When you have kids out of town or you have a sick family member, those off-hour messages are really alarming. So I'm going to ask you not to alarm me. I have enough problems as it is. That was supposed to be funny. I don't think it was, but I tried. So please reach out if you have questions. Email's the best way to get me, and I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful week. For those who celebrate Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year. Thank you. This is Marcus Melnick signing off. We have monthly concealed carry license CCL classes in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Dates can be seen at firearmmentor.com/classes. If you have a question, we can be reached at www.firearmmentorcard.com. That is our electronic business card, has all of our contact information and links in it. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll see you at the shooting range. This is Marcus Melnick from Firearm Mentor signing off. The views expressed are not those of local community broadcasting, WYML LP, or its management, volunteers, or underwriters.